Good evening, John.
You know, Brad, as the president was leaving this afternoon to go to San Diego, he said that he's nearly got the cabinet and the staff where he wants it to be, which is an indication that there may still be some changes ahead. And one of the potential changes that could be happening is, according to the Associated Press, trading out Secretary Shulkin at the Department of Veterans Affairs for Rick Perry, who is currently the Energy Secretary. The president is really a big fan of Rick Perry. David Shulkin has run into some problems, a little controversy over his travel. The president certainly would like to put Rick Perry, with his long track record of helping veterans, into a position like that. Now, as to what happened today, we first reported the likelihood that this was going to happen to you last fall, and that is getting rid of Rex Tillerson as the Secretary of State and putting in Mike Pompeo, the CIA director. Well, about 5 months after we first reported it, it finally happened this morning. It was not a surprise. It had been rumored for months. But the sudden announcement that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was fired sent shockwaves through Washington.
We got along actually quite well, but we disagreed on things. When you look at the Iran deal, I think it's terrible. I guess it was okay. President
Trump made the decision last week. White House officials say Chief of Staff John Kelly called Tillerson, who was traveling in Africa on Friday, to tell him he'd have to step aside. Officials say Tillerson asked Kelly if the president would wait until he returned. Tillerson touched down in D.C. at 4 a.m. today. 5 hours later, President Trump tweeted, "Mike Pompeo, director of the CIA, will become our new Secretary of State. He will do a fantastic job. Thank you to Rex Tillerson for his service."
I wish Rex a lot of good things. I think Rex will be much happier now.
Meeting the press this afternoon, Tillerson did not sound happy in the least.
I received a call today from the President of the United States at a little after noontime from Air Force One. What is most important is to ensure an orderly and smooth transition during a time that the country continues to face significant policy and national security challenges.
The White House says the timing was driven in part by last week's announcement of a possible meeting between President Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un. President Trump wanted a new team in place for that process and the numerous trade deals the president wants to renegotiate. And he simply loves Mike Pompeo.
Tremendous energy, tremendous intellect. We're always on the same wavelength. The relationship has been very good, and that's what I need as Secretary of State.
Tillerson's firing prompted swift reaction from the president's opponents on Capitol Hill.
What President Trump did and the way he did it once again indicates the chaos in this administration. I've never seen a presidential administration so basically disorganized, at war with one another, creating such huge problems for the country.
To replace Pompeo at CIA, President Trump chose career CIA official Gina Haspel. She would be the first woman to ever lead the spy agency. But Haspel's Senate confirmation is already drawing fire over her involvement in the CIA black site operations in the early 2000s, the extraordinary rendition and waterboarding of terror suspects.
Had a good working relationship this last year, but rightfully there are a lot of questions to be asked.
Filling the position of his soon-to-be-departed chief economic advisor, Gary Cohn, is also on the president's mind. The president revealing that economist and television host Larry Kudlow is a leading candidate to fill the post.
I've known him a long time. We don't agree on everything, but in this case, I think that's good. I want to have a divergent opinion. We agree on most. He now has come around to believing in tariffs as also a negotiating point.
All of this as President Trump was heading to California to view prototypes for a border wall.
If you didn't have walls over here, you wouldn't even have a country. And by the way, the state of California is begging us to build walls in certain areas. They don't tell you that.
The president favors a wall with a see-through component so Border Patrol can know what's going on the other side. His big problem? Democrats continue to refuse to give him the money to build it. There was one other staff change at the White House, this one coming as a bit of a surprise itself. It happened yesterday. The president's so-called body man, the former UConn quarterback Johnny McEntee, was suddenly let go and escorted from the grounds of the White House. The details surrounding his departure still remain murky, though he did almost immediately land a job at the Trump campaign. But Elijah Cummings on Capitol Hill, a Democratic congressman, wants some answers and is asking the White House for all of the records pertaining to McEntee's security clearance. Brett?
John Roberts live on the North Lawn. John, thanks.